Hi everyone, this is EstaRa with a message for you today. Today is Tuesday, April 4th, 2017. So I'm here with like a very brief message. I wanted to reach out to all of you. It's been a crazy energy, weird dynamic for the past week or so. I think everyone's been feeling the shifting of energies, the kind of hazy craziness of it all. I feel like it's gotten lighter over the last several days. However, I've been getting lots of emails from different clients and different friends telling me how they're really sad and they're having lots of emotions, lots of fears coming up. And it's like this massive wave. And I can tell you for myself, the last, I don't know, 2-3 days, I'm getting like waves of emotion myself. Like I'll start to feel it and it'll come up. Sometimes I get the tears welling up in my eyes and they start to pour. But other times they just kind of come up and over me. And I sit with it and I say, okay, is this mine? And I would tell you 95% of the time this past few days, it's not been mine. It's actually been my beloved's, my twin flames. So he is going through emotion. So I really strongly encourage all of you to check in with yourself and see what is going on inside of you. So ask, is this mine? And here's the thing, it very well may be yours. So that means you might need to address something, look at something that's going on within you, what's coming up for you, important to check it out. For some of you, it might simply be your twin. So here's how you do it. You just simply say, close your eyes and just breathe. And then say, is this mine? If it's not yours and it doesn't belong to you, it will dissipate and disappear. If it is your twin flame, it will disappear and then it'll come back. But it'll come back in a different way. So what my advice would be is to, for lack of a better way of saying it, is consciously disconnect. I know that sounds crazy because you're always connected, you're always merged, you're always one, right? But consciously disconnecting means you don't want to be in their energy, thinking about what they must be going through and pondering all that. Because I can tell you, I've done that myself. And the more I do that, the more I'm bringing that emotion in and more I'm bringing in that pain. So instead, I highly recommend doing something that I've been doing. And one thing is to say to my beloved, I love you. You are safe and you are loved. Or I even say it to myself, I am safe and I am loved. And that brings me back into my center. It will bring my beloved back into a center. It's not always going to fix everything. I promise you that. But I guarantee that it'll shift the energy a little bit and it'll help you understand if it's yours or your twins. So that's really a huge deal. We are also in a time where I think Venus is getting ready to go direct shortly. And that's like bringing up, there's this culmination of energy coming and getting ready to transition. While that's happening though, we're not there yet, right? But while we're in this place where it's getting ready to transition, all this stuff is surfacing. So my last video was about your beloved being in their heart and in their solar plexus, working through that kind of energy, those kinds of fears, those kinds of beliefs, those patternings that are in their field. That's a big deal, big difference. It's so important and imperative at this time for people to shift and move that energy and allow that energy to come through. And your beloved and the divine masculine, the one who's carrying more of the divine masculine energy, is really, I want to say, is almost in this like teeter-totter struggle, like they're teeter-tottering, they're back and forth about, yeah, this is what I really want. And yet, it almost, to them, I think it appears like there's all these obstacles to jump over. And the visual they're giving me, my guides, is like a track from gym class. So do you remember like the hurdles? You have to run and jump over hurdle, run and jump. I did really bad at that, by the way. I was not very good at the hurdles. So running and jumping, and then you think you're set free, and then there's another one. It's almost like they see that and they're like, oh, I don't think I can do that. I'm not sure I can handle that. I don't know if I am capable. And that's their coming to terms with their power and who they are. Now, doesn't that sound like, solar plexus energy? Absolutely. It's all about their power. And so for a lot of them, they've been disempowered the majority of their lifetime here on the planet. If we just step back from our twins' experience physically in their world, specifically for them, think about the masculine energy on the planet. It's been disempowered. The feminine part of them has been disempowered. They have not been able to own that, be in that field, or experience that, or feel that energy. And when you're not allowed to feel that energy, it's almost like you shut it out and you stop it. You don't feel it. Again, it comes to feelings too, shutting down the feelings and suppressing them. And when you don't do that, it's almost like a muscle that's not been used. So you're trying to use the muscle. So for example, think about your first workout after not doing it for a long time, and you just kind of, it aches a little, or you burn, it burns because you're moving it in a way that your body's like, oh, wait a minute, what am I doing here? I'm working. It's just, and it's scary. It's like an alarm almost, and your body goes off like, oh, it hurts, trigger, trigger, trigger. But the reality is, it's not really a hurting thing. It it might, register as a hurt, but the truth is it's actually an opening, and it means you're doing the right thing and you're moving on. And so the same thing with the divine masculine, with their emotions particularly. And I'm going to say not every divine masculine is in this space, but the majority are. Like, the divine masculine energy on the planet has been so suppressed in their feminine qualities, their cooperation, their being in their feelings and their intuition. And it's really uncomfortable, and it's really different for them because they are not used to that. They're used to, like, us talking about, oh, women's intuition, but you don't really hear man's intuition ever. You might hear gut instinct occasionally, but that's not even always attributed to the divine masculine. So they're really, really struggling to let go of that past, the box that they've been in, that box, if you will. Like, they've been cornered into, this is how you're supposed to be. This is what a divine masculine does. This is how they look. This is how they act, this is how they behave. This is what they do going forward. And so to come out of that box and break it open, it takes that muscle. It takes that pushing and going forward. And, some of them do it. Like, I get another really crazy visual. I love my guides. They give me these crazy visuals. So I get this little box, and I see them, like, climbing up the wall and going up to the top and then sliding back down. So if you can imagine, that is what your beloved is going through on an energetic level. They're climbing up and then they slide back down. But that, I think, is happening in a physical world too, because I actually feel like it translates into what's physically going on with them currently, is they're coming up and then they slide back down. Now, on the other end of the spectrum is the divine feminine, right? So we're all doing the same thing. We're climbing up and sliding back down because we have our own stuff that we're working on. For divine feminine energy, what I've noticed and recognized in the last several weeks, particularly now, there's this whole energy of nesting, of creating home and recognizing home. So home is where you are. Now, that's a beautiful saying. I love it so much. And I think of that when I think of my twin. I think love is where he is. Wherever he is, that's love. But wherever you specifically are is home. So, like, in you always have home. And we forget that. That has been forgotten from us, right? Because in a lot of ways, the divine feminine on the planet has been suppressed to think that she has to have someone external to make her validated. And I'm obviously being very general. Please understand that. I'm being very general. The divine feminine has had the I don't know how I guess I'd word it as like an issue. Like, one of the problems has been that the divine feminine has been considered and viewed as property. So if you're a female and you're in a female body on this planet, you have been considered property. You were like your father's property and then your husband's property. And that has been very, very, very much expected throughout generations and generations and generations. And so now that's all changing because we know we're not property of someone else. And we're recognizing that. And the more the divine feminine energy, like, empowers the planet to see differently, guess what? It activates the divine masculine within the divine feminine. So that means the masculine qualities come into strength, courage, moving forward. So all of these things are kind of shifting upside down. So the roles are a little bit reversed in a way. So the divine feminine, I feel personally that the divine feminine is pulling back into her power and recognizing who she is in the world and what her job is. And I'm saying her, but please understand, again, I always say this, I preface it, and I meant to do that earlier. Divine feminine only means who in the couple is representing the divine feminine, or expressing the divine feminine in this time, and who in the couple is expressing the divine masculine is the divine masculine. It doesn't mean male and female. It just means who's representing or expressing those qualities at this time. So so with the divine feminine, and the divine masculine, we kind of shifted the role. So the divine feminine, I'm trying to get back to my thoughts. Divine feminine is all about being in her power, learning her place on this planet, her role. Now, I say learning her role. Now, that has such negative connotations. I'm sure some of you like ding, ding, ding going off. I don't mean like her place is in the home cooking. I actually mean her place on this planet. Like, what is the divine feminine's role on this planet? What is she here to do? And a greater way than just being a wife, a daughter, a child, a female, um, being the caretaker, the nurturer, the helper. And the divine masculine is learning to be in their heart. And so the divine masculine is now learning what it means to be loving, cooperative, and being part of something, not needing to be independent anymore, but being part of something because they want to, not because it's expected of them, and not because they have to. So that's a huge shift of energy going on. And it is really time for everyone to pay attention to this. It's like very strong out there in the ethers, and you're going to see it on a global scale. You're not going to just see it within your personal lives. You're going to see it externally as well, and you're going to see it with other people that you know. I also want to mention that one of the things that I don't know if I mentioned this in a video a few months back. I probably did. I feel like I did. So there's a movie out there, documentary on Netflix. I highly, 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 highly recommend everyone to watch this. And the reason I recommend it is because, one, if you're the divine feminine and you are trying to understand your divine masculine, particularly if they are male, if you are trying to understand them, this documentary would probably give you a better clue. Like when I saw this video, it really gave me a lot of it was stuff I knew and I recognized, but there was a lot that I didn't know. So that would be really beneficial. Now, even if you're not the divine feminine, but you are the divine masculine, or you're masculine, you're a male in this lifetime, I encourage you to watch it as well, because I feel like the information in there will help you move through blocks and clarity of what's happening and what's going on, and where a lot of this stuff has come from. So the documentary is called The Mask You Live In, and I know actually, it's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, please by all means go see it. If it's not on Netflix, you can check Amazon. I'm not positive. I know for sure. I'm certain it's on Netflix. I highly, highly recommend this documentary, and I highly recommend it, for everybody to watch, not just Twin Flames, but because we're a Twin Flame community, I really recommend it to all of you because it will help you understand your beloved, and it will help you understand you better. So please, please watch this. It's about the divine masculine energy and how they have been programmed to be a certain way. And it's really funny because a lot of it, again, I had knowledge of most of what was talked about, but it's kind of like enlightening to see it all presented together at one time. So I really encourage you to watch that if you haven't had an opportunity, and really see it, and let me know if you have seen it, what you think, because I'd love feedback on that, because I think I'm encouraging all my people in my world here where I live to watch it, like in my town. And even in my classes, I'm going to be showing it. So I really encourage that to be seen. What else do I want to tell you? What else is going on? So I feel like we are in for some surprises coming up. I feel like we are in for some massive changes on this planet. Massive things. So while there might be some ick happening and some discomfort and some energy going on, I want to tell you, I feel like there's some pretty massive change that's happening, and it's bubbling up inside of everyone. So I was talking to a friend earlier today on my drive home, and on the drive, I got this very clear message that as I was talking to her, I was thinking, oh, it's really time, it's really time for us to remember that spirit has our back. And when I say that, we have our back, our spirit does, our higher self, our united being that we are, our oversoul, we have our back. We know this is going to happen. We know it without a doubt inside of us. The doubts are the human pieces that get fearful and get scary. And that's because those around us are doubting. Now, as a twin flame, we're high frequency beings. So even if you're not in your high frequency state of mind right now, like you've been in, say, lower frequency, you've been in depression, or you've not done some work to get you back into your frequency, you're still a high being frequency. And so that means your energy is already a higher vibrating energy. And as such, it's so important for us to remember that we already have what we need. We are already going to come together. We already know this, but we have to remember, because that is who we are, we're responsible for our energy. Now, everybody's responsible for their energy on the planet. I just think a lot of people don't know it yet, but we need to know it. So if you don't, please know it. You're responsible for making your energy strong and powerful. And also you're responsible truly for bringing your union into physical manifestation. Because if you're the more aware one, the more awakened one, the one that is consciously reaching, then the consciously reaching twin is the one that has a little more responsibility in maintaining the frequency, because the other twin is still working to pull themselves out. And the way I perceive it a lot of times is as if they're on a cliff holding on for dear life, and then they don't realize below them is actually what they want. And it's not even this giant fall down. It's actually a little hop. And so it's probably like 2 or 3 feet, not like 200 or 300 feet that they might be thinking it is to fall. So it's important that you know this. You're high frequency beings, and as such, your job is to we're here to bring in awareness and compassion and love and truth in the way that is best received by those around us now. And we will be really smart if we pay attention to what is affecting us and how it's affecting us. So if you're not aware of what's going on around you and how certain people affect you, or how certain things that are going on are affecting you, it's really important to get present and get clear about it. Because if you're not, that is going to create more of a havoc for you in your life, because then it kicks up a swirl of energy around you. And I want to end this with a last couple things. So I'm really getting strong vibes about making our community stronger, making the Twin Flame community stronger, and strengthening all of you. And my guides are really very clear about this. They want us to come together as one, and to almost, the way they're showing it me, they're showing it to me right now, is I see people standing and they have belts on, and they have specific things on their body, and they're showing them taking that off and becoming their naked being, if you will. And the beings are just taking off everything and just coming forward together as one. And I'm getting that as the Twin Flames. Our job is no longer to be pitted against each other, no longer to have competition with each other, because our job is really to be together as one. And so I see this massive shift happening, and I feel like we are right where we need to be. And because of that, it's time to really look at who we're bringing into our lives, bringing in Light Tribe, and bringing in support for one another. We need to uplift each other. We need to not demean anybody. We need to be in our truth and be in our love and be in our power. It's not okay any longer to be in competition with one another. That's not what we're here for. The planet is evolving, and so are we. So if we're not evolving past that old paradigm energy, we're not going to evolve, And so for somebody to bring up judgmental things, that's just not going to be helpful to anybody. Judgment has to go. It's just not okay. All right. Well, I'm rambling, and I see that, and I know that. And I did bring up the messages that I wanted to bring to you. And I know I promised a reading at some point. I'll probably do one this week. I have to tell you, I just get these messages that need to come out, and I want to share that with you so quickly, and I'm not feeling the reading. I feel this instead. I hope that's okay. And I would like to, remind you of 2 more things. So one is, in terms of the community, I am holding a Twin Flame webinar on Tuesday, April 11th, a week from today. It is at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you sign up, you are welcome to join up then. The link is inside this video. Also, if you sign up and you're in a different time zone, you'll be sleeping, you are totally welcome to sign up, and then I will be happy to send the recording to you. And it will also be available for purchase for those of you who don't sign up. You are welcome to purchase it after we have finished and completed, if all goes well with the recording. And so that's one major thing that's coming up. And let's see what else I wanted to say. Okay, so the final thing was my guides wanted to do a quick little light language blessing for you, because a lot of you have been feeling grief in your heart, and suffering and pain. And this is old frequency, old energy, and your divine counterpart is carrying that weight as well. And it's going back and forth between the two of you. You are connected, right? So you're corded at the chakras. So you're connected and you're merged. And if you are, that means you're sharing information and energy. So if one is feeling grief and trauma, the other one's feeling grief and trauma. And we all have our, like when we're feeling sad, like for example, when I started this video, I had talked about people being really sad recently and having waves of emotion. And I had mentioned, make sure it's yours. But here's the interesting thing. A lot of times, if we don't check in to find out if it's ours or not, we'll just take it and own it, right? And so I'll do that. I'm guilty of that. For example, I might be going along doing perfectly fine, have a session with somebody, and about an hour later, just get really emotional and think, where did that come from? And if I didn't clear my cords with them, or I didn't cut my energy off from them in a way that was balanced, or I did it in a hurry or something, it really makes a difference, just so you know. So one of the things that I recognized is that a lot of times we're owning all this energy that's not ours, this grief and this trauma, this pain. And, we might not have a conscious reason at that moment for feeling that way, but I'm sure every one of us consciously has something going on in our lives that we can attribute it to. So for example, when I feel some of the sadness or I feel some of the waves of energy and emotion, immediately I can say, oh, I long for my twin. I miss him. And maybe that's what he's feeling, but I can easily attribute it to that. So then I own that energy and I make that weigh me down and bog me down. So that I hope helps you in understanding that a little bit better. Okay, so take a moment now. If you have the opportunity, close your eyes wherever you are. If you're driving, obviously do not do that. And I hope you're not watching this when you're driving, because that would not be okay. Unless you have one of those vehicles that are driving themselves now, because I've heard that's a possibility and that is out there now. Okay, so let's take a moment. Greetings, dear ones. We are here with a simple transmission of light for you. It is with love, honor, and respect that we bring this to you today through EstaRa. We are the Arcturian Masters of Light. Idea kayo tare mandoro wakashi toro bari tati kadu mano to di kara shapati ro ana ni dora ki mano do da karo shapati na karo bara ina da kotara re beshoti ke para ete ko dora bara i manda karo bara to paki na ko para ke shuma da di do ta akai no moro para ki tar ma ko shoti na akata do matasi kai mano ra ba hi tar ka shumana o to da hi ka abodore kari mara shata. We ask you now to place your hands upon your heart chakra at this time, dear ones. O makarito ko pasita dana na kotareta makroro so pati dito ko nuanito ko manararaki para ko o masati sa chachawa ati cho banda chotaya ya pa ito de way manakara pota I karamarana o nakshatiama kota I. It is so. Namaste. It feels brighter at this moment. I want to say to all of you, namaste. So much love, and I hope you were able to feel that blessing of light. My body was tingling as it was happening. I'm going to encourage you, if you can, watch, I don't know, the last minute and a half, 2 minutes. I don't even know how long it's been that I was in channel, but I would encourage you to listen to that 3 times in a row and just let the energy clear from you. Okay, and drink water. If you're not a water drinker, please, by all means, start drinking water and add a little lemon if you could. That will help detox you, because you receive light language, it's an energy healing, so it will clear you as well. So I send you blessings of love and light, and blessed union to you, and namaste. So much love.